Out in the woods where the tall trees sway, Bigfoot nerds are here to play. With their glasses on and a map in hand, exploring the wild, it's a nerdy land. Hiking the trails, that too is thrill, finding our girls a nerdy way. Hiking and searching, sing with glee, finding the clues of mystery. Tracking the legend, drawing real close. Bigfoot's our buddy, and we wire his hose. Silly adventures, laughs all around. In the heart of the forest, fun can be found. Join the crew, come on for the ride. Bigfoot nerds together, side by side. Out in the woods where the tall trees sway, Bigfoot nerds are here to play. With their glasses.
Hey everybody, can you see me okay? Hey. Oh, now we're starting. Yeah, first couple minutes I was kind of sitting there because the chat room was all fucking empty. And I was like, oh no, nobody likes my show. I was feeling so sad. But now y'alls are here. Let's say hi to some folks. Jason Finch, happy Saturday. Denise, hello. Nemovir, good to see you. You were the first one into chat. Always there for me, Nemovir. Roger Blair up into his house. Mickey G, always lovely to see you. Let's see. So we got some people in here. So what's going on? Hold on, I'm supposed to show like the whole thing. The whole okay, anyway. Bear with me here. I was just showing. There was there was an extra line that I had in my thing here. I'm gonna edit my name. Donny Cho says stuff. Okay, sorry about that. I was kind of rushing to set everything up. Hey, what's up, Ron? Can we eat Bigfoot? Lol. Okay, so today I want to discuss, if it's just going to be me tonight, guys. This is live. We're all here. And I want to discuss what it means to be a Bigfoot fucking nerd, right? Because I myself am not just a Bigfoot nerd, but a cryptid / paranormal nerd. And I would believe that some of y'all's in the chat are also nerds for the cryptids and the paranormal shit. Right? We're all nerds for it. It's okay. It's not a pejorative, guys. It's cool. You can admit it. Who here in the chat admits that they're a full-blown Bigfoot nerd? Come on, show of hands. Anyone here? Jason, I think, is admitting it. He's a Bigfoot nerd. Nerds are cool. Yes, they are cool. Yeah, we're cryptid nerds. Tennessee Ridge Runner, are you a Bigfoot nerd? Today's the day we come clean, guys. Today's the day we admit it to ourselves and to each other that yes, we are a bunch of cryptid, paranormal, fucking nerds. And that's a good thing. That's not bad. Uh-oh. Nemovir says he stuffs nerds into lockers. Oh no, that's bullying behavior, guys. But yes, I'm a nerd. Who else is a nerd? Tennessee Ridge Runner, are you a nerd for Bigfoot? Are you a cryptid nerd like we are? Okay, some of you are, some of you aren't. Some of you might just be like a fan of the genre of like the mysterious and the paranormal. You know, that's all good, you know, and you can be that way, but some people are just full-blown nerds. Now, my standard, my standard unit of measurement, if you are a nerd for a thing, is quite simple. If you've ever attended a convention for something, you are a fucking nerd for that thing, right? We have our dear friend here, Mr. McLean, right? Remember this picture? This guy is a bona fide comic book nerd. He has been to comic book conventions. He will be the first to admit to you that he is, yes, indeed, a comic book nerd. If you've actually gone to an event for a thing, it's fair to say that you are a nerd for that thing. Now, you may not have the resources to attend or may not have the opportunities, but you have the willingness. So even though you've never been to a convention, if you're like one of those people who's wanting to go, you're probably a nerd for that thing too. Nemovir, just come out of the closet, Nemovir. No reason to be sitting in the closet. Just come out of the closet, my friend. Right? I'm out of the closet and it feels good. Yes. So, today we're going to talk about Bigfoot nerds. What does it mean to be a nerd for Bigfoot? And again, if you've been to a convention, you're pretty much, like, these are all like Bigfoot nerds up in here, right? Yes, Mickey G, she's admitting it. Yes, it's our come to Jesus moment, folks. Mickey G says, okay, I'll admit it. Since I went to a Blondes and Booze event, I am a paranormal nerd. Yes, Mickey G. Yes, just own it. You know, just own it. Anyone else here wants to own it? They want to come forward, come out of the closet? Jason Finch, I love the glasses Donny Cho. Fits you, brother. Oh, well, that's very nice of you to say. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, yeah. It's okay to be a nerd. It's fine, you know. But today's episode is actually going to be called The Ultimate Bigfoot Nerd Survival Guide. How do we thrive, nay, survive in this world of normies, right? What is a normie? A normie is someone who is either a colleague, friend, or family member, someone when you meet out there in the world, someone you do business with, you have casual encounters with, someone not in the scene, right? Because a lot of you guys, you all, like Mickey, you watch a lot of these shows. You were on a few of these shows, actually, and you did a really good job. You should do your own show. Jason, you're on a lot of our shows. You're a loyal listener and watcher. Nemovir, I've seen, you know, you're loyal. Tennessee Ridge Runner, you've been to all these shows, right? We watch these shows, right? And it's cool to just hang out with other people and talk about Bigfoot shit, right? Like-minded folks. And you strike up friendships. But then, inevitably, we all have to strike off out to the real world, right? We all have to go back to our normal, everyday lives. Yes, the normies. I like to call them the muggles. Anyway. Yes, I have, but I don't want my own show. So yeah, I was kind of like the same way. Like people were like, do your own show. And I was like, do I have to do a cryptid paranormal show? They're like, yeah. Well, not really. So I was like, can I just do other shit? And they're like, okay. Then I started talking about Bigfoot's dick. That's how my show got started. Anyway. So yes. So back to the topic at hand. Yes, if you've been to a convention for a thing, you're a nerd for that thing. If you go to comic book conventions, you're a comic book nerd. If you go to Star Trek conventions, you're a Star Trek nerd. And if you go to Bigfoot or Dogman conventions, then yes, you are a cryptid nerd. And it's totally fine, because we all are. Yes, I like to call them muggles, but not everyone's a Harry Potter fan, so I like to stick with normies. So, yeah. And this scene is no different from like Star Trek or comic books or being a pro wrestling nerd or being a video game nerd. We are cryptid paranormal nerds. So, a little bit about me and my life. Well, I'm very close with my family. Um, and I work a pretty corporate job, a pretty normal, like white collar, show up at your cubicle, 9 to 5, and you just do work the corporate life. So it's not every day I get to talk openly about my fandom or my obsession with cryptids and paranormal shit, right? It's only at night when I can go into the chat with you guys and dick around, or if I listen to like Tex and Rob or the Blondes or Danielle, or sometimes I'll catch Brent's show, like a replay, or Paranormal Paul. I was just watching him before signing on here. Like, yeah, that's the only time we can kind of be ourselves and revel into things that we're obsessed with, right? Oh, hey, it's Woo Riders. What's up, Woo Riders? Anyway, yeah. So it's a bit challenging, I guess it would seem, to deal with normies and muggles. And we all do it in our own way. I have mentioned all of this to like my coworkers, like the people I work with. They think it's weird, but my brother though, he thinks this shit's fucking stupid, right? And eventually you're going to encounter people like that. Maybe in your own family, maybe like even your spouse or your significant other or sibling or your parents, right? They're just like, "Ew, you're a Bigfoot nerd?" Ew. You ever get those looks? You ever have to deal with that before? Mike Bothwell. Yo, Donny, how long do you think Dogman's dick would be? Well, Dogman is our Lord and Savior, and it would be considered blasphemous to ponder upon his genitalia like that, considering that we have a church and we worship him. It would be crude. Bigfoot, on the other hand, I do not worship, so we can speculate about his dick all day long. But yes. But yes, have you guys had that experience? Like, just at a job or maybe Thanksgiving, relatives come by. Oh, hey, Mike Bothwell, what did you do last night? Oh, I was chilling out, listening to my favorite podcast. Oh yeah, what did you listen to? I listen to podcasts about Bigfoot. And people just give you that look, right? Like you're retarded or something. They'd be like, "Ew, you're a Bigfoot nerd." So inevitably, we're all going to encounter someone with that attitude, and we're all going to have to defend our nerddom. Okay, so I guess it's a little easier to have the normie talk if you're into like paranormal stuff, because everyone knows like a ghost story. That's a little bit more universal. Extraterrestrial stuff, UFO stuff, there's shit in the news. Motherfuckers in Congress be talking about that shit, right? Oh, let's have a hearing and talk about nothing. Oh, let's call them UAPs. Bigfoot loves blondes. Yeah, he's a bit of a hornball. That's what I hear, at least. But we have to learn how to talk to normies. Because if we don't, it could affect us in our everyday lives. Because we do have to eventually go out into the real world and talk to them. Now, as an expert in talking to normies, as a Bigfoot slash dogman slash paranormal nerd, here's one of the things I like to do. Next time someone gives you that look, like you're completely retarded for liking Bigfoot, just pick a cryptid that you don't like and say, "But I think this other cryptid is total horseshit. It's total bullshit. I've done that multiple times where I said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to a Bigfoot convention next month." People would be like, "What? You're into Bigfoot?" And then my response would be, "Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm interested in the topic, but Loch Ness monster, total bullshit." You see? You see what you do there? You kind of deflect their judgmental gaze and you meet them on their level by pointing out a cryptid that you think is bullshit. So next time you get a judgmental ass look from a normie for because you like Dogman or Bigfoot, just be like, yeah, but I think Chupacabra is total horse crap. It's bullshit. It's fucking fake. So I'm on the same page as you there, right? Deflection. It's a common strategy, but it works with regards to dealing with normies. I wonder how many women get off on Bigfoot erotica books. You know what I'm going to do? I'm thinking I should just order a Bigfoot erotica book and just read it out loud to the audience. I think that would be a good time. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Bigfoot erotica. That's a good idea. All right. So, that's the one strategy I call deflection. Okay. Now, the second strategy for being a Bigfoot nerd is what I call the Bigfoot peacock. Boom. Recent photo taken at the convention that Tex and the Blondes are at right now with Monica. Bigfoot peacocking. Now, I point to this picture of our good friend Tex because he's the master of this strategy. He's the one who originated it, and I commend him for it. And I like his strategy. Keith is like, oh man, I came at the wrong time. Dogman, Dicks, and Bigfoot erotica. Yeah, I'm going to do well, that's an idea for another day. But today we're talking about Bigfoot nerds and how to talk to normies. Now, I bring your attention to Tex because he is the originator of the Bigfoot peacocking method. Meaning, I don't know if you can notice in the picture, it's hard to tell, but what Tex will do, which is really amazing, he'll just go around all day, every day, wearing like Bigfoot and Dogman t-shirts and shirts. He's got like Bigfoot bumper stickers and decals on his car, right? He's got Bigfoot this, Bigfoot that, just some people like to put like little stickers of gray aliens on their laptops, like, but go extra in, right? Be extra like just Bigfoot all day, every day. You got a peacock for that, right? You got to wear it loud and proud. See, I don't do that in my normal life, right? I am not the Bigfoot peacock, but I understand the value of this tactic is to be so unabashedly, so unapologetically a Bigfoot nerd that people just can't question it. Mike says, Tex looks like he's a pimp at one of these Fergie parties. Tennessee Ridge Runner says, Donny, your self-help book should be called How to Avoid Being a Bigfoot Love Slave. Oh, yeah. Hey, you guys ever watch that one video? I forgot the name of the guy, but it was a dude who had a Bigfoot encounter where a female Bigfoot, kidnapped him and forced him to, you know what? And he was all like crying and shit. He was like, "Oh, the female Bigfoot made me do it." And I'm like, "Damn, dude." I mean, I guess I'd be traumatized too, but damn. I mean, he's acting like that female Bigfoot shoved her thumb up his ass or something. He was bent over. Yeah, that dude was crying hard. Look that up. Like, dude cries over being violated by a Bigfoot. Yeah. Anyway. Bigfoot peacocking. Valid method. It requires a decent amount of investment. It's not for everyone, but if you can pull it off, like my friend Tex here can pull it off. I mean, you should see like his cars. He wears Bigfoot on his sleeve. Like, it is clear as day. If you didn't know him, you just walked by him. That dude's a Bigfoot fanatic, right? See, I'm hiding it. I don't have any Bigfoot memorabilia in my house or on my person. I just wear regular ass clothes. I go out and, I'm like a middle-aged Asian guy, not the type of guy you would think would be all obsessed with like Bigfoot and Dogman. So I guess that's why when, they let's face it, right? The stereotype of being a Bigfoot nerd is that you're a bit of a country person or rural person, and I am not that. So I guess I go against the expectation of what a Bigfoot nerd would be, but here I am. So yeah, I am of the first tactic, the deflection tactic. Ew, you're a Bigfoot nerd? You like Bigfoot? Yes. But the Loch Ness Monster is a total horse crap, a bullshit creature, doesn't exist. It's baloney. So yeah, Bigfoot nerds. Dogman nerds is a little bit different because a lot of like normies haven't even heard of Dogman, right? That like it's true. Like everyone's heard of Bigfoot, even those who don't believe in Bigfoot or think it's fucking stupid or retarded. Yeah, they've at least heard of it. So if they think you're one of those weird people who go squatching, um, yeah, they're gonna look at you funny and they're gonna look down on you. That's why it's important that you pay attention to Daddy Cho here and learn the tactics of Bigfoot deflection, right? Or you can just peacock it and wear it loud and proud. Now, the thing you have to avoid though is going too fucking woo. You gotta be real careful, right? So, a few months back, I did an episode with Randy about the 10 levels of woo. I did my own scale of woo on 1 to 10. Some of you guys weren't here for that show, but I'll go through it real quick. Woo factor 0 are the people who don't believe in woo, have no woo at all, so they think all this paranormal cryptid shit is all bullshit. They say paranormal nerds are a bunch of fucking idiots. That's what they think of us, right? Woo factor 1 is the bare minimum of woo is like campfire ghost stories, right? Woo factor 2, UAPs are pretty interesting, but it's all probably bullshit. This is when you start engaging with some of the current events and some of the conversation in the government about UAPs. Woo factor 3 is now you're starting to get into Bigfoot, but you're more of like a flesh and blood kind of Bigfoot person. And at this point, you're starting to get into like ghost investigations and stuff, ghost shit. Woo factor 4 is when you start getting into like conspiracy territory, right? You're all like, government's definitely hiding some shit. Woo factor 5 is once you start getting into all that Nephilim stuff. Woo factor 6 is when you talk about Bigfoot and Dogman being all trans-dimensional and going through portals and fucking phase shifting and shit. And then there's Woo factor 7. That's when you get into fairies, mermaids, and gnomes and like leprechauns and shit. That Narnia shit, like fae, all that weird stuff. Like Bigfoot and Dogman's one thing, but once you get into like fairies, you're going another level of woo. And then there's Woo factor 8, where you're basically like getting all these psychic powers and you're psychic as fuck. And then Woo factor 9, once you start getting into like Anunnaki and Atlantis and all that. And then Woo factor 10, CE5s in the desert with Dr. Greer. So, I mentioned this because as a Bigfoot nerd, we're all going to fall on the spectrum somewhere on this scale, right? You're going to land somewhere. So, most Bigfoot nerds, I would say, are about here, Woo factor 6, right? You're thinking that Bigfoot and Dogman at this point, they got like powers and shit. They can like teleport and they can like read your mind. That's some crazy stuff, right? So, you have to be careful though, because the one pitfall that a lot of Bigfoot nerds or cryptid nerds fall into is they get into this territory, right? once you start bringing up like fairies and shit, fucking, and like mermaids, fucking leprechauns, right? Because for me, that was the biggest shock when I first got into this scene, right? Because, well, I've told this a bunch of times, but I first got into this whole thing because of like ghost and psychic stuff. I wasn't originally into like cryptids, but some of my friends in the cryptid world or the paranormal world, they introduced me to some Bigfoot heads, and then I hooked up with them, and ever since I've been involved in this Bigfoot nerddom with a bunch of my friends, right? So listening and participating in the chats and on these shows about Bigfoot and Dogman encounters, I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, that's some crazy ass shit, man. People are seeing that shit. Fucking Bigfoot and Dogman like in the woods. Damn, that's crazy, right? But then I started noticing that people more and more would start talking about like fairies and fucking mermaids. And I'm like, really? Mermaids? Are we really doing this? I'm looking around the room. I'm like, damn, we're a bunch of grown ass adults talking about like fairies and mermaids and shit, right? Because we've escalated the woo, guys. You gotta be very careful about escalating the woo, because most of us, you go into the Bigfoot nerddom scene at Woo Factor 3, but then the more you get involved in these shows, right, and you start questioning these stories. Oh man, I heard Bigfoot went into a portal. Bigfoot go into portals, holy shit. Now we're going into Woo Factor 6. But then once you get to Woo Factor 7, you got to be real fucking careful how you talk to normies at Woo Factor 7. Because normies will accept, right? They will accept that maybe, okay, this guy's a fucking Bigfoot nerd, right? The stereotype being that, oh, he's some weird redneck that goes marching and prancing in the woods. Oh, Ron? Ron asks, what's that Greer woo? Oh, that's Woo Factor. Hold on, let me find it again. Woo Factor 10. CE5s in the desert. Once you're like going to the desert and summoning like UFOs with Dr. Greer, that's Woo Factor 10. Woo Factor Spinal Tap 11 is the Law of One. And then the final boss of Woo, Dark Lord Xenu. Mike Bothwell is, what the fuck is a CE5? Close Encounter 5. CE5, okay, so you know the CEs, right? The different designations. Like CE1, I think, is like you encounter a, like you see a, I forgot what it was. CE1, like CE1 is like you see a UFO in the distance. CE2 is you see the UFO landing or you see it up close. CE3 means like you see the actual aliens, like the physical aliens. CE4 means you get abducted. And CE5 means you actually summon the UFOs. So that's some high levels of woo right there. That's Woo Factor 10. Okay. So yeah, you have to be very careful, right? Because yeah, talking to normies about Bigfoot's one thing, but talking about like fairies or mermaids, that's some other shit right there. Because now they're gonna be looking at you like, yo, you a grown ass motherfucking adult, man. You're talking about fucking mermaids? How am I supposed to take your ass seriously? Right? Especially if this is a coworker or your boss. They're probably thinking to themselves, damn, do I need to send a memo over to HR? This motherfucker's crazy. What level is Donny? I am the final boss of Woo. Dark Lord Xenu, the final boss. Go back and watch that episode. I thought it was pretty good. Okay. Now, the reason why I bring this up is there is a limit, folks, and make this, let this be a public service announcement to the cryptid paranormal nerddom scene, is that there's a fucking limit, folks, of how it's when you go off the rails. There's a point where you go off the rails, okay? Like mermaid talk amongst other cryptid people, for the most part, it's okay. As long as you're talking to other like paranormal nerds. Yeah, you could talk about fae or some fairy shit, you know. It's okay. If you want to go into like the Blondes and the Booze or Rob show and go into chat talking about like mermaids and shit, you know, people will accept you. But there is one level or one topic where if you discuss this, your credibility is out the fucking window. Woo factor nope. There ain't no fucking such thing as no motherfucking unicorns. That is the limit, guys. No unicorn talk. You can talk about mermaids, okay. You can talk about leprechauns, okay. We're pushing it, but we're fine. We're acceptable. Once you get to unicorns, no. That's a wrap, guys. You're off the plot at that point. Make sure when you are next time you're in these chats or participating in a show, be ever watchful, because there will be one motherfucker out there who's going to try to bring up unicorns. And no, because unicorns are definitely not real. Now, you can here's a good strategy, you know. If you talk to a normie and then you say, yeah, I'm into Bigfoot, and they're just like, ew, why? Right? And you'd be like, well, I don't think unicorns are real. I think those are fake. Right? And guess what? Your social status has been saved. So be very careful, guys out there. Don't get no motherfuckers out there talking about no unicorns. That's when the whole scene loses its credibility, guys. Okay, we can talk about Bigfoot. We could talk about mind speaking with Bigfoot, right? We could talk about some Nephilim shit, but we have to draw the line somewhere. So we got to keep sanity and make sure sanity still stays within the cryptid community, because if we don't, people are going to get off the rails. They go from Bigfoot, Dogman, and they escalate to like fairies and leprechauns. Next thing you know, they're talking about motherfucking unicorns. And we got to put a stop to that. We got to draw the line in the sand and say no more at this point. Just say no to unicorns, right? You never go full unicorn. Be very careful with that, guys. OPR says, confusing a small person with a leprechaun is more likely than a mermaid. Yeah, true. Right. Like people, I've seen people on these shows say like, oh, you know, they'll talk about like banshees, right? Paranormal show. Like Monica likes to talk about banshees, and banshees are cool. That's some good shit. We could talk about banshees and shit. Talk about ghosts. You know, if you want to get crazy with it, go with like Dr. Greer in the fucking desert. Try to summon up some UFOs. Hey, want to get crazy with it? Get crazy with it. Know what I mean? But there's got to be a limit, guys. There's got to be a limit. And yes, OPR says just say no to unicorns and Pegasus. Pegasi? There ain't no such thing as Pegasus, neither. That's all some bullshit. Okay, I'm cool with Mothman. We're cool with Mothman, right? We're cool with Jersey Devil. Hey, if some of you guys are down with the Loch Ness Monster and you want to get all up on that sea monster talk, you know, that's fine, right? But I ain't hearing no motherfuckers out there talking about no fucking unicorns. And we got to keep it that way. Because once unicorns get brought in, guys, we're going too far. If you see someone else bringing up unicorns, you stop that shit. Dead in its tracks. Because again, the entire credibility of the whole cryptid paranormal scene is at stake, guys. And you have to maintain that integrity. You know, so it's important. That's why we never go full unicorn. I feel weird talking about like mermaids with grown ass adults. So I don't bring it up too much, but I don't judge people if they want to talk some mermaid shit. But man, yeah, no unicorn stuff, guys. And I'm calling upon the rest of the cryptid paranormal community to be vigilant. Because Bigfoot nerds are one thing, right? And if you want to get down with that Narnia shit, that's fine too. They would think it's some sort of religious group. Mike Bothwell says, haha, I wonder what people would say to Donny if you told him he was the founder of the Church of Dogman and have actually followers. Oh, we're going to do more Church of Dogman stuff. It's going to be dope. It's going to be fucking awesome. Mickey G says, I want to know if Donny knows Tom Cruise. He knows Xenu? Yes. So that was the point of my episode that a few months ago, that the final boss of Wu, the Dark Lord Xenu. And if you want to know the story of Dark Lord Xenu, go back and watch that episode. It was a fine episode. Although my microphone was all fucked up that day, so I didn't like the sound quality. I wish I could go back and do that again. But yes, we need to keep the unicorn move. We need to keep unicorn shit outside of the cryptid paranormal world, guys. That shit's like a fucking cancer. We gotta cut that tumor out. So yes, just make sure there's no unicorn talk. Now you can speculate all day. Oh, is Bigfoot supernatural or flesh and blood? You know, that's all good. But yeah. All right, but that's all I wanted to say, guys. Because again, we got to maintain our integrity. These normies, they're gonna be looking at us like we're fucking retarded, and some of us may be. You know, I might be, which is totally fine. But you know, that's why you have to set a good example. You know, you have to be noble. You have to be respectable. You have to understand that not everyone's going to see eye to eye with your worldview. You know, and some people might be open-minded and they might ask you questions about some Nephilim shit. You know, they might want to talk about like maybe some Atlantis shit or some Anunnaki stuff, you know? Or some people, you know, they like the tarot and astrology and they want to get it all into like a psychic conversation, supernatural. It's all fun. It's all fun. Just keep your head on straight and don't be talking about no unicorns. So that's really the point of my episode today. This is going to be a short one, guys, but I thought it was a pretty important message to share. You know, when you guys go out into the world and talk to the normies, you know, just, yeah, you know, dragons are fine. We were cool. I'm cool with dragons, right? It's just, it's fucking unicorns, man. They piss me off, man. I swear. Like some people, I think Text recently was talking about like goblins. You know, I could accept goblins. We're cool with goblins. Does anyone ever really get to understand the true story of Xenu? Well, yeah. I explained that whole saga. He is truly the final boss of Wu. Anyway. Good old L. Ron Hubbard. He gave us that knowledge. Okay, I'm going to keep it short tonight because, frankly, I want to go back to playing video games, and I am going to, I might hop on Rob's show tonight, so guys, check it out. Jason's going to be up on there. I'm going to have some pre-record surprise episodes coming out, so keep your eyes open. And yeah, just keep your heads on straight, guys. Be careful with how you talk to normies about when you bring this stuff up. You know, feel free to use my tactic of deflection, or if you want to use Texas tactic of peacocking, that works too, right? But be a proud Bigfoot nerd. Don't be ashamed, you know. As long as you represent us well, just go out, have your head on high, and feel good. And be open and engage and represent us well. All right, guys. I am going to peace out. Hopefully, I'll see some of y'all's later. And yeah, peace. Am I ending it too quick? Okay. I'm going to end. Oh, you know what? How about this? I am going to have this up and leave this song so we could just chill out more. And if you guys want to chill out more in the in the chat, and then I'll close out. Okay, peace.
With their glasses on and a map in hand, exploring the wild, it's a nerdy land. Hiking the trails, but that too is thrill. Finding our girls a nerdy way. Hiking and searching, they sing with glee, finding the clues of mystery. Tracking the legend, drawing real close. Bigfoot's our buddy, and we wire his clothes. Silly adventures, laughs all around. In the heart of the forest, fun can be found. Join the crew, come on for the ride. Bigfoot nerds together, side by side.